collapse and abandonment.
Yeah, I mean that's where it's just this is not the state being pruned away by like small government enthusiasts. That's how people fantasize about it. But like the real action is just a movement of public investment away from everything else and to enforcement and to militarization of the domestic space.
And you know what?
That
And
is
like, and
that's the flow of funding we're talking about. That's the policies. That's the actual undercurrent that's going on.
Yeah, and we like the forces of capital have to have that because it's impossible to create like an SA in America. You know, you're not going to get 2 million hardened ideological war veterans who even lived in a time where there was any idea of community as anything but an abstraction in America.
Yeah.
So you have
it's got to be a job.
You have to keep shifting the resources so you're able to pay these guys $200,000 a year.
Exactly. It has to be a middle class job. It cannot be some sort of life purpose like it was for the SA, because that kind of mystical sense of identity traumatized by war doesn't exist. It's just pure hyper individualized narcissism. I'm not going to kill all those demonstrators unless you give me a 500 square foot house that looks like a McDonald's play place in the suburbs.
Yeah, no, I mean we really are the Fourth Reich, but you know, because we're the evolution of the form.
Yeah,
we're
the fourth meal Reich.
Yes, we're the fourth meal Reich. Our Ernst Röhm is like Melanie Griffith at the start of Cecil B. Demented. I'm not even getting out of my trailer for under $200,000 a year.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a good pull there. I didn't know the John Waters movie. I feel like.
I really like. For some reason I watched that movie when I was like 11, and I really liked it. It's always stuck with me. I don't know why.
It's funny. It's funny with Felix because everybody has that where there's a handful of weird movies that nobody else really remembers that made an impact on you. The thing is, for Felix, that's it. He doesn't have all the other ones that everybody else watched. He just has the random weird ones.
Gattaca, Gosford Park.
Yeah. Well, that one is a bad one. That one is a trauma.
That's the bad one. That's a trauma.
I saw that too early. I saw that too early. I was too young to see it. Okay. Yeah. I mean, there are two types of good movies. There are movies where, action movie with 5,000 on-screen deaths and a movie like Worst Person in the World.
Yeah, I was astonished that you liked that movie, Felix.
I loved it. I thought it was like amazing. Well, you know how I feel about.
Yeah,
like,
no, I guess it's not that surprising.
Yeah, I love like Northern European art where the point of it is like, life is inherently bad and embarrassing and maybe pointless, but you have to assign some meaning to it. Like you have to perform some purpose. Like if you make an excruciatingly long thing about that, I'm gonna love it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, I just something I've been thinking about as long as we're talking about living in the fourth meal Reich is I've been thinking a lot about recently something Vincent Bevins said on this show when Matt and I interviewed him about the Jakarta method. And one of the things he said is that, like, had the Nazis won the war, instead of having the Holocaust Museum, you would have the Museum to the Victims of Judeo-Bolshevism.
Yes.
And, like, I'm just thinking about that in terms of, like, just as this culture war shit ramps up, and it's just like whether it's like CRT or cancel culture, it's just like this like the state is now empowered to like viciously surveil, oppress, and police minority groups, whether you're trans, whether you're not white, whether you're an immigrant, whether you're gay, whether you're a woman, which is not even a minority group because that's like more than half the fucking country. But all this authority and this evil is accrued to them because like it's Matt, like you were saying, you need the like, oh, like there's some irregularities in voting. Like you need like this concerted effort to like convince everyone that like actually it's their lives that are under threat. That like justifies, the state taking away the children of gay couples, or denying health care to trans people, or just I don't know, just putting people in fucking camps. I mean, like, it just you need to convince people that like the ones stuffing people into train cars are the ones who are threatened by the people who are their victims.
And some people have trouble with that, like the way that this sort of reactionary movement, the way it's it's totally cynical. You can tell by its actions that there's no actual adherence to any larger values, but then they insist anyway on doing these legalistic things that they wouldn't have to. And you're like, well, who are they doing that for? And I think it's because anybody at the very top of like this sort of system that is so, monstrously evil, or anybody who like is rooting for it and trying to make it totally dominant, like they know they're lying when they talk about their values, but they don't know that everyone else is lying amongst their group, because we're all strangers to each other at the end of the day. So they're adhering to something that they think maybe other people even amongst their group actually do believe in, and so they're all bluffing in the same direction, and that means they have to do things to convince themselves, not even in the moment but later, for when they tell themselves why they did what they did, and they build their museums to the victims of Judeo-Bolshevism. There has to be a story they can tell where they are justified at every point.
I'm just thinking about like, under the new like Florida public school laws about like the Don't Say Gay bill. Like if a student comes out to a teacher, or even if a teacher finds out a student is gay, they're now legally compelled to tell that student's parents.
Yeah.
There, in addition to like, if you're gay, you're not allowed to have photos of your family in your on your desk or whatever. And by the way, I'm astonished by like the reaction to this, but like so many angry people being like, when I was a kid, we had no idea if our teachers were married or not, or whether they had any lives. It's just like,
That is not
stop
true.
fucking
I have a
lying.
distinct.
Stop fucking lying.
I have a very deep and uncomfortable memory of sitting on the floor of my third grade class while my teacher broke down in tears and explained that she was getting a divorce.
What,
Send her to
man?
jail.
That is a fucking tree of life memory if I ever heard it.
Oh, it was.
Shit.
She had like big
blurry
square
focus
glasses. And
yeah. Oh my
taking them
God.
off and rub. Oh God.
Is your dad Matt Damon? Holy shit. Let's edit in a dinosaur dying at the start of this episode.
But yeah, but I mean, like we know who the targets of these people are, and like I said, like they're not going to stop here. They're not going to stop here, and like, and if anything, like the groups of people that will be included in their victims is only going to expand. More and more people are going to be included.
Yeah, because it can't stop. Like that was another of a big mistakes of anybody who thought, oh, they'll always dangle row, they'll never overturn it, is because that imagines that like once they get there will be some satiation. Like there isn't going to be another mountain to climb, another fantasy utopia to attain by just a little more repression and a little more control. They can't give it up, and that means it has to be at someone's expense.
And like, and this also gives the lie to the thing we talked about last episode, which is like these the fantasy or fucking marketing job that people are doing now, that like, oh, like now that abortion is illegal, the GOP is going to make it easier for young couples to buy a home.
Yeah.
Or
oh my God.
I literally I saw a piece and was like one of those sort of like magazines for closeted Catholic guys called like, Dysentery or Compact or something like that. It was just like, yeah, like he was like, the biggest obstacle to starting a family is owning a home, because everyone needs a home. It's like a kind of psychic and economic rock to to build a life around, and people will delay starting families or having children without a home. So like obviously this is a chance for like the pro family party to make it easier for young people to become homeowners.
Yeah,
it's like that. Look, these people don't want to do that.
No, it's like, all right, first of all, you have the fact that all these people who are saying, well, now that we've got abortion banned, we will refocus our efforts on making sure that the children who are born have decent lives. It's like nothing was stopping you from doing that before. It's like, I'm sorry, yes, abortion's bad, but if you really cared about any of that stuff, you would have raised a peep. And yes, there has been like a consistent, like very mild demand for social welfare, like on the right wing, but it is always just absolutely smothered by the center of gravity of the party, which has no fucking time for any of that bullshit, which has marked all of that kind of expenditure off of the ledger. It is no longer possible. So you can pine for it, and you can convince Rubes at the Atlantic or fucking Ross Douthat that you're going to push for it. And even if you do, though, you will not have influence within the party, because you were part of this coalition for that reason. But the rest of it has other fucking interests, which are much more salient than yours are. So they're going to keep focusing on doing what they're doing, which is they'll go along. They'll give you the offer. Okay, you can keep pushing for some welfare or something that you're not going to get, and just be frustrated and alienated, or you can join us in the fight to go further, to ban contraception, to prevent people from crossing state lines to acquire an abortion. All these loopholes that are still going to exist. What about a national ban? That's going to be a siren call for anybody who gets off on this, which everybody does if they're fucking caring about these kind of issues.
That entire act has always been funny to me, and the fact that it's gotten money in the past 2 years. I mean, I guess the point of putting money behind that is like, hey, if you're only playing with house money, why not try? Why not try to get some like Bernie cast off, some incredibly dissatisfied people who are they didn't really have a lot of experience in this thing before, and this is their first time losing really fucking bad, losing something you should have won. Maybe they'll come over to this side. It's so funny because it has less of a future out of literally anything in American politics. Literally, Elizabeth Warrenism has more of a future than this fucking national conservatism idea. This is not where things are tilting. This is not where things are going. And even the people who are they've chosen as the leaders of the movement, like Blake Masters, are going out there and going, "No, we're privatizing Social Security."
Yeah,
like half the people in the movement are like, "No, we're killing the golden goose. We have to kill the goose."
Or
there's no more future for any of these fantasies that there's a national government that's going to distribute services to anybody. It is a violence administrator on behalf of a privatized sphere that you have to fucking live in and get in there, and good fucking luck.
And the homeownership thing is especially funny when you consider the fact that like firms like BlackRock are